So I'm at the field this morning with my F35, and what I'm doing is testing out my air brake system. I did a video last night about how I separated the linked ailerons and elevons, and now I've got them separated so I can do a steeper angle on the flaps, and also I can also adjust the up angle on the elevons to counteract the down angle on the flaps. Alright, let's see what happens when I flip the switch. Whoa! Okay, lots of up angle. Alright, so that up angle on the elevons on the back is too much, so let me reduce that. So now I've reduced the angle of the elevons coming up in the back. So I've got the flaps going down, the rudders coming in for an air brake, and the elevons are staying flat because the first time I flipped the switch, the nose came way up and it started doing a loop. Alright, let's see what happens now. Nose does come up a little bit. A little bit less stable. But you can get a nice glide slope out of it, but not the same kind of stability as when I had the 4x4 setup. So now I've reduced from 75% to 60% the angle of the flaps. And let's see if that still allows me some control when I bring it in for the landing. No sense having a slow landing if you have no control over the plane. Flaps on, nose comes up less. Wow, still gliding quite a bit. That's pretty good, but not as much control as I had with the linked setup. Alright, so now I've got this set at 45% on the flaps. And let's see if I can get a little bit more control over landing with this setup. Okay, flaps on, nose comes up a lot slower. No, still less control than the linked 4x4. Surprised by that. I thought with a larger flap angle I would have more control. Now what I've got is a little bit of down angle on the elevons in the back, and the rudders still come in, flaps still go down, but I got a little bit of down angle. The nose was pitching up when I put the flaps down, which means that the rudders were doing their trick. So hopefully this will counteract it and maybe give me a little bit more control. This is how it was set up with the linked control when the surfaces were linked. Alright. Flaps. Yep, now nose goes down. Actually, I have a lot more control. A lot more control. Look at that. Alright, so I'm back to the kind of control I had with the linked setup. And believe it or not, I've got both the flaps and the elevons down with the V-tails or the air brakes on the rudders in. And that gave me a heck of a lot more control, which is opposite of what I thought it would be. One final thing I'm going to do is do the flaps and the air brakes on the rudders at 100% angle, 100% down and 100% in. And then I've got 30% on the elevons. Let's see what that does. I'm going to bring it in for a landing, nice and high. There you go. So I got 100% down on flaps, 100% in on the rudder brakes, and 30% down angle on the elevons. Flaps on, nose drops just a little bit, glide it in. This is no power now. Look at that. Oh, beautiful. Amazing. Once you get the actions down, putting flaps on, reducing throttle, and gliding it in. A little bit of up elevator, use rudders to steer. Very nice. I added 2 servos for the separated elevons and ailerons, and then I ended up mixing it just like I had it on the 4x4 setup. So in a sense, I think I wasted a little bit of time last night doing the servos and mixing when I ended up with the same setup I had with the Lynx setup. After the test this morning, I learned a couple things about the F35. The first thing is that it flies really, really well with the Lynx setup. I think I may have wasted time adding servos and doing all that mixing on the plane, when after a day of testing, I find that it flies pretty much just as well with the Lynx setup as it does with the separated ailerons and elevons. The other thing is that I found that when you have 100% down angle on the flaps and 100% braking on the rudders, the plane is very well balanced. The thing will fly straight. And then it's the elevons that determine your pitch. So that's something to consider. I prefer to have a little bit of a down angle on the elevons, so that when I'm coming in for a landing, I'm always pulling up on the stick. It's a natural motion when you're landing a plane to let it glide down and then pull up on the stick just before landing, and that's what you get when you set the down angle on the elevons. So I'll still experiment with this a little bit, but I've got to say I'm very, very happy with the way the plane flew with the Lynx setup. Very easy on mixing and one less servo per side. I think that's a real winning combination.